trouble for an answer before she could make any false stories. I said, if that's the tradition, I would name my daughter on my mom's name. Oh my God, she didn't see that coming. Her face was flustered and she just got up and stormed out of the house, saying something under her breath. I was so relieved to see her going. I just wish she doesn't show up again. When my husband came in the evening, he asked me if his mom was here. I said yes. He nodded and didn't say anything. I asked him what's up. He said nothing, just that his mom called him and she was angry that I didn't agree to name my daughter Susan and instead I wanted to name her on my mom's name. I asked him, and? He just laughed and said, you know how mom is. She said that you insulted her, and asked her to leave and never show her face. I rolled my eyes and said, I wish I said that. He asked me to relax and ignore him. I know my husband is such a doll and I adore him for that, but you see how she tries to manipulate my husband against me. Lord is kind to me that my husband is not influenced by her, else she would have ruined my marriage. Update 1. Hello people. I'm over the moon holding my gorgeous baby in my arms while writing this. She is a week old. I know last time I said she was due in 5 weeks, but she arrived 2 weeks early. She was so eager to see mom. You know, after the confrontation with Mill, I thought my problem was over and she was not going to put her foot on my business again. But damn, I underestimated the woman. A few days later, my girl called my husband and said that Susan was very upset because I misbehaved with her. She is not eating properly, not taking her meds, and not talking.
Get ready to renew your Medicaid chip benefits. Learn more at dhs.pa.gov/staycovered.
Couldn't do anything. She was just sobbing and sulking over the fact that I had refused to name my baby as Susan and also threatened to ban Susan for my daughter. That's not true at all. I never said that. My husband said that I was at the peak of my pregnancy and at that moment he was not going to stress me with these stupid things. Though I had unwavering support from my husband, my blood boiled on hearing these false accusations. Phil insisted my husband come over and talk to Susan. The next day, my husband visited me. She faked tears and went overboard with her lies. To calm her down, he apologized on my behalf. She said she doesn't need an apology, but to have a granddaughter named after her. My husband said that it was our baby and it should be our decision. It led to some arguments where Susan threatened that she would cut us off if we didn't oblige to her request. It wasn't a request though, it was an order, and she was adamant about enforcing it. When my husband said this, I said to myself, fine by me. But whatever it is, she is his mother and I cannot be that mean to him to say this up front. He didn't say anything at that time, but 2 to 3 days later, he casually suggested that I keep the official name of the baby whatever I want, and let's call her Susan as the pet name. I was aghast. Why the hell? I would call her Susan. I don't want to spell or hear Susan at my house, and keeping my daughter's pet name as Susan breaks the purpose of my refusal. I denied it up front. He got agitated and said that we needed to find a middle ground, and this was the only solution. He said if I didn't like the idea, we could have her official name as Susan and call her whatever I wanted home. I said no, that's not happening. He was not happy with my response, but I was not in a good physical and mental state to get into a fight, so he didn't say anything further. Eventually, we got busy shopping for the baby and setting up the house for her. My labor also kicked in after a few days, so we didn't discuss the topic after that day, though it was there on the back of my head, but I ignored it. My contractions started early, and within a few days my baby was found. Our close family and friends visited us, but Susan was nowhere to be seen. I was discharged from the hospital in 2 days. Yesterday, my husband addressed the elephant in the room. He was like, so you're still sticking to your decision of not naming the baby after mom. It was such a beautiful moment of us, cuddling our newborn, he brought up this topic. I wasn't in a mood to fight. I asked him what he wanted. He said what's the harm in letting his side of the family call the baby Susan while I can keep her official name whatever I want. I ultimately gave it, but I strictly warned that neither I nor he would call her by that name. Susan and Phil could call her whatever they wanted. He was happy with that. Though I agreed to, I'm not having a very good feeling about it. I mean, the woman didn't even show up to see my daughter, and she wants her to be named after her. She was so arrogant that she didn't even put her guard down to see her granddaughter. So, why do I need to agree to her demands? Now that I have agreed with my husband, I don't know how to retract from here. I also know that it might lead to a disagreement with my husband, which I really don't want at this point in time. That man has been really supportive of me all this while, and I don't want to get into any fights with him. I really don't know what to do. Update 2. This Susan woman is not leaving any stone unturned to satisfy her fake ego. As I mentioned earlier, I agreed to let my husband's family call my baby Susan. Neil finally visited us to see her granddaughter. She came up with huge banners and posters with "Welcome Baby Susan," "Love you Susan," and all that. Almost everything she carried had either Susan written on it or was with her initials. My daughter's name starts with R, BTW. Also, my Mill's favorite color is green, so everything she brought for my daughter was green. I'm not being petty to call out this, but she is obsessed with herself. Her name, her color, oh my god. I mean, have you ever seen a baby top the bottom covered in grass green onesies, green mittens, and green socks? I didn't know that they manufactured baby items in this face color until I saw her. She didn't say anything to me, neither asked about my mom. She gave me cold shoulders and so did I. She just kept calling my baby Susan excessively, maybe just to annoy me. She just went so overboard in showing her love that she messed up with my daughter's sleep cycle. I did subtly try to say that it was her nap time, but she just ignored my insistence. I wanted to snatch my baby from her arms, but my husband had me around. I just didn't want to get into a big fight with her. She would have exaggerated the entire thing to create a whole new story. As soon as she left, I got rid of all the rumors she had put on my baby, Roll. There were many weird and silly things Mel had pulled off in the last 3 months, like creating a social media page for my baby, with the name Baby Susan, and posting the pictures and videos. I know a lot of parents do this for their infants and toddlers these days, but I'm not in favor of doing this at all mine. The social media pressure of getting likes and comments subjects a baby to a very superficial sense of beauty and wonder, and I don't want my daughter to have early access to this superficial world. In fact, I also don't post pictures of her from our account, except for the baby announcement. I haven't put up anything. But this woman has no chills. There is not a single day when she has not posted my daughter's pictures. How does she get so many pictures? Well, she clicks. She visits us every other day and clicks as many photos as she wants. We can't say no to her visit or through clicks. It annoys me to the core, but what can I do? I mean, how do I ban her from meeting her granddaughter when she's not troubling her or any of us? Whatever. This is a very silly thing compared to what she has done now. My baby turned 3 months old 2 weeks back, so we took her to our family church to get her baptized. During the event, when the priest started the procedure, he called my daughter Susan. I was shocked. He was reading the name through a paper which I realized was the form I filled out while registering for the service. I felt embarrassed to do so, but I stopped him midway and said that my daughter's name was not Susan and that I had not filled Susan in the form of her real name. Mill tried to intervene, but I ignored her and continued to ask the priest about it. He exchanged looks with Mill and said that Mill had visited the church a few days back and said that the form filled by me had an error, and she filled a new form where she changed the name of my baby to Susan. I requested the priest to spell out the name of my daughter, which I had mentioned. My Mill works for the church. She does some kind of bookkeeping work for the church. I'm not very sure. She is on good terms with the priest and other members of the church. She used it to access and replace the form that I had filled out for the baptism service. This confrontation led to chaos. My husband intervened and asked me to calm down. He said that the name actually didn't matter much. I know it doesn't to that extent. The person getting baptized matters more than the name, but still there are sentiments attached to it. The name mentioned on the baptism document mattered to me at least. And how dare she pull such a petty thing behind my back? I might have acted immature, but I was done with her. She was making my life miserable. She had pushed all my buttons, and I wanted to cut her off for my daughter's life. After the ceremony, we had organized a lunch for the close family and friends. Susan was also a part of it. I was in a pathetic mood after the incident. My parents and sister tried to cheer me up. That's the best thing about having a baby. They don't let you stay sad. Seeing them smile lightens up your deepest sorrow. I enjoyed it for a brief moment, and Susan decided to spoil it. When all the other guests went and it was just our parents in the house, Susan brought up that topic as how I yelled at her in front of everyone in church. She suddenly started sobbing. She was all very cheerful until now. She's such an imposter. My parents said that it was our family pattern and would take a leave. They left. Glad they did because I didn't want them to be a part of Susan's freaking show. After they left, Susan became more vicious, blaming me for manipulating her son against her appointment. I heard all of it patiently, then took my daughter in my arms and went inside my room. While leaving, I just said that your son is a free and wise man, but if you want, you can take him and tuck him in your skirts or chain him in your wrist. She got so furious at this. I tell you that I ignored her and stormed inside my room and bolted her. Even from inside my room, I could hear her yelling on top of her voice. Occasionally, I heard my husband's voice as well. It continued for more than an hour. When they were gone, my husband knocked on the bedroom door. I opened it thinking that he would be angry at me for creating a fuss in front of everyone in the church and having a big mouth for his mom, but I was surprised at the gesture. He hugged me and said sorry. He said he shouldn't have pestered me to let them call my daughter Susan. She was our baby and it should be our choice as to what we want her to be called. He said that he had banned his mom from our house and from our daughter's life until we felt comfortable because she was creating trouble in our life. The first year of the baby's life was supposed to be the best period for the parents, and Susan was ruining that for us. He also made it clear that our baby was just one name which we had given her and everyone should call her by name. I was shocked. I didn't see the coming. I asked him one day to say sorry, and why did he suddenly change sides when he said one asking me to calm down in the church and telling me that maybe wasn't not a good practice. He said that after the ceremony, he heard Will talking to his aunt, cheat about me, and swearing to separate me from the baby. She was saying that she would go to any lengths to preserve her name in the next generation, but also babysit my daughter when I was at work and would eventually manipulate the baby against me. It was so evil of me. My husband said he was waiting for all the guests to leave so that he could confront Susan about this, but gladly Susan brought up the topic with me this evening. I Obviously, Susan would come to confrontation because she was more offline. She called him saying that other derogatory words, but instead I was glanced around like another unfinished space. My Phil also rebuked her for maybe the time and asked her to stay away from us. My husband said that in another space, she would ruin all the occasions of her baby would come up on night. I couldn't believe it took such a harsh step to protect her daughter and my reasons. So Susan was temporarily behind my lives until she was prepared, which I never meant to do. Story 2. I came home early to surprise my wife. Here's my story. My wife and I went out for family and some months before we divorced. Bella and I met at a restaurant where I had gone to a dinner with her. She was seated at a table waiting for her husband to have a show, and I thought I'd keep it. She was in the restaurant in the back with a nice conversation. It's an occasional time on Facebook with my frustrated everything from this to that. We met at the I was the lead I was telling her through the summer talking to different children. We were constantly moving back. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the relationship. We treated each other with all respected each other. That and all the both of it. But I don't think because she was my wife, there was everything she could do. It was a full-time career. I only stayed home when I worked, but I'm glad it took place because someone else did. I worked in the traveling from place to place to work for clients. Even with my business venture, I did my best to spend time with them. I had great plans for us, and with our collaboration, I knew we could have a beautiful and memorable future and I'll continue being so hard. Most of the time, I wasn't so pleased with my business venture because I missed spending time with Belle, and I didn't like it when she complained about my absence too much. To make up for always being away, I would buy her beautiful gifts and a flower center at home. Also, I didn't wait for us to have special occasions before I took her to a fancy dinner or mini vacation. The sweet thing about Belle was she always knew how to reciprocate and make me feel loved, too. There was a time when I returned from a week of working in another state, and Belle paid for a massage session and gifted me the latest release of Jordan sneakers. She cooked special meals, set up our home table for romantic dinners, and did other things. Because of Belle, I always looked forward to going home, but one day, I went home without informing her in advance, and our marriage took a different direction after that day. Usually, each time I returned from a trip out of town, I'd tell Belle in advance so she could prepare for me to cook something. But that day, I dropped by her favorite restaurant and grabbed some takeout for us and a bottle of red wine. I wanted it to be a pleasant surprise for her, but I ended up being a surprise one. When I got to our house, I pulled over in the driveway as usual and walked into the house with the stuff I got. As soon as he entered, I noticed Belle was half-dressed, flustered, and sweaty. The kind of sweat that showed she was doing very hard labor. She was already acting all edgy, and when I asked her what was wrong, she said she acted that way because she was surprised to see me, and she was sweaty and almost half naked because of the summer sun. That felt very suspicious, but I almost believed her wrong because it didn't even cross my mind that she could bring her affair partner to our house. As we were conversing about my trip and how I had to come home earlier than expected, I heard our backyard sensor go off. I wanted to look at the security cameras to see what was happening, but Belle tried to stop me. She said it was probably nothing, and I shouldn't worry because the sensor had gone off 3 times already that day. That was odd coming from Belle because in the past, even if we wanted to sit in front of the computer and look at the security cameras all day, Belle never complained or tried to stop me. So, she literally ratted herself out when she tried to stop me from looking at the cameras. I actually ignored her and looked at the security camera, and I saw my 2 dogs attacking a man in my backyard. I was shocked to see it, and Belle pretended to be surprised. She said he had broken into our house, and she was trying to catch him when I came home, and she didn't want to tell me so I wouldn't yell at her for not locking the doors. As much as that might sound believable, my guts told me something was wrong. I told her we should call the police, and as soon as I said that, she kicked against the idea. She said we shouldn't get the police involved, or we would have to pay for our dogs attacking a man in the backyard. I was getting mad at this point, so I called the police and reported that someone was trespassing on our property. Shortly after the police arrived, I called the dogs off him, and Belle's app came out of the place he squeezed himself into. He had sustained injuries and told the police our dogs attacked him. When he said that, I told the police he had trespassed on our property, and that's why he got attacked. Belle's app overheard me, and he started shouting that he had come to spend quality time with Belle, and he was with Belle the previous night. It turned out that Belle was having an affair with him, and he met him from the book club she belonged to. When he said that, Belle was horrified. She tried to shut him up in my presence, but the guy kept yelling and said he didn't want to be charged for trespassing when Belle invited him. That wasn't all. His affair with Belle had been going on for a while, and that wasn't his first time sleeping over. After her secret was exposed, Belle was so embarrassed because our nosy neighbors had come out to listen to everything. Words cannot express how I felt when I found that the woman I was planning on forever with was doing another man in my own house. I After the police left, I went inside the house and threw out her stuff. Out of anger, I retrieved most of the things I bought for her and set them ablaze. The neighbors were still there, and they watched as I publicly humiliated her. I threw out our wedding portraits and other things that reminded me of our union. She was even shameless to keep begging me to let her explain. She said she only invited him over so they could read a book together, and nothing was happening between her and her aunt. I knew they were all lies and didn't listen to me. By the time I was done dumping her stuff outside, she had to call her younger sister to come and pick me. I also left the house that day to clear my head. I went to my best friend's house, and after Thad put myself together, I contacted a divorce lawyer to start preparing our divorce papers. In my life, I had never experienced that level of betrayal. She shattered me completely and destroyed the possibility of me ever loving or trusting a woman again. For nights, the memories haunted me, and the memories took its mental toll on me. Even after we divorced, I was still a shadow of myself, and it took me a long time to heal and forget about it. Even though 2 years have passed, I still feel that the next woman I might end up with will cheat on me again. Because of this, I keep shutting out or hurting every woman who comes my way. Anyway, I know it will take time for me to heal, and until that happens, I will focus more on working and earning more for the comfort of my future.
I'm a single mom. I've had a lot of those imposter syndrome moments, but everyone deserves to be loved.
After years of my dad enabling his entitled wife's stepmom toxic behavior, I finally went no contact when she attacked my kid over a wedding dispute. I tried posting this on Ida through a different account a couple days ago, but it didn't work out. Given a trigger warning, I'm not surprised. I have since concluded my wife and I did the right thing, so this will be my last attempt to post this story. I tried to add some info and change the wording a little. All names are fake. Mine, 28M, stepmother, 49F, is a wannabe party clown. She has taken it upon herself to clown most every party and party in my dad's family as well since she married me. I never loved those occasions growing up. She's controlling and gets upset if people complain about anything. But humor her for my dad's sake. According to her, this helps her feel improved. I'm getting married to my fiancée Jane, 26F, in July. We got engaged in early 2021, but Jane ended up getting pregnant a couple months after that, and we decided to postpone the wedding to focus on our son for a while. So we had a long engagement. My stepmother just tried to hijack our wedding plans from day one, complaining, contacting our planner, showing up unannounced at Jane's dress appointments, etc., and we have repeatedly asked her to stop. Dad wants us to humor her, but she's clearly resentful of the fact that she's not posting the wedding or being labeled mother of the groom in invitations. Besides our baby boy, we also have Luke, 4M, Jane's paternal half-brother. She got custody of him a few months into our relationship, after his parents died. I ended up moving in with them during the pandemic, and have been in Luke's life since he was a baby. He doesn't call me dad, and refers to us as his sister in his heart, but we love him like a son. Stepmother, well, hates Luke. She accuses Jane of maybe trapping her way into the family. That accusation only got worse after our son was born. My dad gets along with Jane and adores the kids, but stepmother demands him to refuse babysitting Luke, so we don't leave the kids with them often. Instead, Jane's brother and Sil usually watch the kids for us, as their children are close to ours in age. We had a thing last Sunday, and my Bill was out of town with his family. Jane's other siblings live in different cities, as well as my mom and sister. My dad agreed to babysit at our place, and we left. We came back to find both kids crying, stepmother screaming, and dad weakly trying to calm everyone down. Apparently, Luke had told stepmother that both he and our son were going to be our ring bearers, and she went ballistic. She screamed that she wasn't going to allow it because he wasn't family. She then made him with a further warning and he started crying. His lip is still swollen. He'd never gotten to this point before. We immediately banned him from our house and from our wedding. Dad is fuming and has said he's not going without me. He's also convinced Mom on his side of the family by severely downplaying what stepmother did to boycott the wedding as well. This includes my stepbrother, who fully agrees with his mother no matter how many times I try to tell him the truth. Me and Jane are refusing to budge, but many of my cousins who aren't coming anymore are asking us to reconsider. Pretty much all of Jane's family agrees with us, but one of her aunts has suggested that maybe stepmother was because she wasn't feel welcomed by my family. Honestly, I live with my family in neighborhood every day. I love my dad and really want him in my wedding, but I am more than willing to go and see what it means protecting my family.
What the fuck?
I think I accidentally deleted the paragraph where I mentioned this, but we did press charges. We took Luke to the pediatrician the next day and gathered every piece of evidence we had. Not only did we have pictures of Luke's face, but by some miraculous strike of luck, we also had nanny cam footage. Some commenters were right to assume that my SM hadn't been invited to our house, but my dad hasn't really gone anywhere without her in years, so we took precautions. We didn't expect her to actually do anything. The physical attack happened. There was some footage of her screaming and me crying before and after the event. She now has a child abuse charge on the rap sheet. We wouldn't let her get away with this. Edit 2. There is a lot of additional info I want to add. I'll try to respond to at least some of the comments. I did not expect the amount I've gotten so far, but all I like to know is that Big was okay. The visit to the pediatrician happened the day after. He already had a counselor. Jane was pretty traumatized when her dad and stepmom died, and was worried it would rub off her. And we'll continue to. We've been hugging and pampering him a little more than usual, too. He's still upset, but is already doing much better. Update. Entitled Stepmonster got herself banned from my Reddit. I want to thank everybody who took the time to read and comment on my previous post. It's been a tough week, but it's always great to know that people care. I haven't been able to reply to every comment, but I will try to address some of them separately. This might get a little long. I'll start off by saying that me and Jane are going NC with my dad and SM. We haven't really spoken to either of them since the incident, and I don't plan on being the one to reach out. Any communication between us is being handled by my younger sister. She's completely on our side, but will remain in no contact for the time being. I've decided to adopt Jane's way of dealing with people she cares about. Forgive what's apologized for, but never forget. Basically, if Dad or SM ever truly understand what they did wrong and sincerely apologize, we're willing to forgive them, even if begrudgingly so. But we will never ignore or let them forget what they did to our family. And for the time being, neither of them will be allowed near Luke, our baby, and any other kids we may have in the future, even if we do forgive them. As for the rest of my family, I really a lot of comments suggesting that I post pictures of Luke's face, as well as the nanny cam footage. I'm not very active on social media, but even if I was, I'm not comfortable exposing my injured preschool like that, especially given that nothing I'm doing ever truly goes away. I also decided not to share the pictures with my family unless truly necessary. I should probably mention that while my family adores my dad, most of them aren't very fond of SM. She had 2 failed marriages prior to meeting my father, the first of which resulted in my stepbrother, and he cheated on his then girlfriend repeatedly. My family loved their girlfriend, and disliked SM right away. Not only has she been controlling and manipulative since the beginning, she's also tried to force her way into the family matriarch role by any means possible. Taking over planning duties for every family event was her favorite way to do it, because of all the attention and compliments she got. The main reason why I hated these parties growing up was because she'd always find a way to make everything about it, including Christmas and mine and my sister's birthdays. The rest of the family felt neutral about it, but they never liked her. With me, it was different. Most of my relatives didn't meet him until COVID restrictions got looser, and by then he was 2 years old. He's a bright and genuinely lovable kid, and there weren't really any other small children in the family, so everyone immediately started cooing over. The way I see it, SM got upset that Jane and Luke were accepted by my family so easily compared to her experience, and that's why she resents them both, but I can't confront that. She was also not right. Aside from not being the plan, she would have absolutely no involvement in the wedding party. She tried to pressure us into letting her official. One of Jane's best friends was offered the role a year ago, making stepbrother my best man. He wasn't interested, and I'd already gotten my best friend, or asking her sister's daughter to be a flower girl, with promised Jane's 2 year. Also, her sister's daughter was 15 years old. She also tried to convince us to let my dad call Jane down the notch, since her father's gone, but her eldest brother, the bill I mentioned in the first post, had already been listed. SM was disappointed that my family wasn't as involved in the wedding as Jane's, and kept making comments about how they never acted to put her in charge. All of that being said, there is nothing that can excuse being involved into a child, especially if it really is the petty jealousy that I suspect. Because I haven't spoken with my father, my sister has been keeping me updated on what he's been up to. As I found out through the story my dad and SM told the rest of the family completely erases Luke's injury and abuse charges. It insinuates that me and Jane damned him because we got annoyed with SM and decided to take it out on my dad as well. Because most people already disliked SM, explaining what actually happened at night wasn't hard, and most of the relatives that actually wanted to blame and apologize were berating my dad as well. The people that didn't believe us, as well as those saying that we reacted, have been told they are not welcome at home. Those are mostly people from my dad's generation, so I can't say I'm surprised. But the realization that they are so biased they're willing to protect a woman after she hurt a child, just to let my dad know he is reassured that I don't need anything in my life. Stepbrother is still in the mind. He refuses to believe his mother could hurt a child, even with all the other 2 of them. I have to admit I understand. I love my mom too, but that doesn't mean that excuses and idiocies. So does Ben too. It sucks, because we were close growing up, but I love his Ben. Besides, Jane has 2 other siblings besides Luke, the older Bill, a twin brother and a younger sister, and I'm closer to them than I ever was to. Speaking of Jane's family, they're all furious over what happened, and have been extremely supportive of us. Jane's maternal family basically adopted him after he got custody, and of course they wanted to make sure he was okay. They did manage to save some money with everybody who was money, and have decided to use it to help Jane's cousin. She lives in a different country, and was previously unable to come to the wedding, so we're praying that they come today. Luke has gotten much better, and is almost completely happy with the son child he's always been. Despite making shut of him, it's healing slowly, but did require any stitches. We sent him down a few days ago and explained to my dad and stepmaster wouldn't be around my dad. He really liked my dad, but understands that the NSL had attention for him. He's pretty scared of him, but we're doing our best to make him feel safe. Me and Jane have reassured him that he's family. We love him, and no one will ever change that. I'm not too worried about Dad or SM trying to show up again, but leave a little bit of you and give him a picture just in case the time comes. Better safe than sorry. Some people draw attention to the fact that SM is a victim for saying Luke isn't family. I agree, for obvious reasons. Her main excuse for pretty much everything she does is that she doesn't feel like my family welcomes me. Dad has been guilting me to take part in everything she plans by reminding us of that for as long as I can remember. The way he continues to make excuses for her without realizing this is basically a case of the pot calling the kettle black, except Luke actually is family, is what has made me accept him. While I will always love my dad, it's not healthy or safe for me and my family to be around him anymore. It hurts to know my dad is only remaining bio-grandfather in his life, but he has two amazing step-grandpas to make up for. For now, I'm sad, but satisfied with how things have turned out. I don't like to complain about my life. It's a mess, but it's I love my fiancé. I love my kids, and I'm lucky enough to love my job. We're happy. I'm not letting anyone lose. To be honest, one posting on how it didn't work out, Jane suggested I make the writing less explicit. I'm not used to Reddit yet, so I might have lowered it down a little bit. I hope this is my last update on this story, but I'll keep you posted. Again, thank you for all your love and support. Best wishes to all of you. Update 1. SM, my family, and my kids. I'll start off by, probably, disappointing a lot of people. We're coming to terms with the fact that it's unlikely SM to get anything more than a sound. Me and Jane are discussing our next move with our lawyer, but we're still not sure how we're going to move forward. It's too early to tell anything, so we're trying not to get ahead of ourselves any more than we already have. However, I'm relieved to announce that we're getting started on the process for a restraining order against SM. We're using the same evidence we gathered the week following the incident, including the management footage and pictures of Luke, and we'll focus on that for the time being. I still haven't spoken to my father. My sister is still in LC, but is seriously considering cutting ties with him. Because my sister is the only one on my side that still talks to her, my father keeps trying to ask her about me, and whether I've calmed down. According to it, he's annoyed that half of his family refuses to talk to him, but still doesn't seem to accept it.
What? I'll be down in a minute.
I never asked her to do it, and it's clearly taking a toll on her, but she insists she'll stop when it feels right. By the way, there is absolutely no doubt whether SM attacked her. Not only did Luke say at the moment we got home, but that was also confirmed by my father in a failed attempt to defend her behavior. He never tried to hide it from us. That, and the fact that he gave Luke a nice bag, is literally the only positive thing I can say about his actions. And SM was too busy screaming about how much of a whining...
Que se llama?
To those who guessed SM is younger than my dad, you get an invisible clip.
What? Oh, the stove? Yeah.
She's also 5 years younger than his previous girlfriend. They got together when I was around 15. Also, stepbrother is only a month older than me. She turns 50 later this year. I'm at 21, married his father a year later. Both our kids are doing mostly okay. Luke's back to running around the house in the Superman costume whenever he doesn't have anything better to do. He did a few nightmares this past week, and is asked to sleep on our bed twice. We don't mention my father around him, and he's still seeing his counselor. Our 14-month-old son has learned 2 new words, by and by, and Luke is trying to teach him.
Yup.
Jane's sister, who moved away for college.
I hear a lot at the front door. Walk it! Walk it!
Is coming over for a couple days to celebrate her 21st birthday later this month. Luke's excited to see her, and Jane's excited to get drunk with her. Can't say I blame her. We're hoping her presence will cheer us all up. I'm not doing so good, and neither is Jane. She's usually the kind of person who tries to keep her negative emotions to herself, but she cried herself to sleep almost every night the weekend after. It breaks my heart to see her like that, and I can't help but feel like this is my fault. There's a part of me trying to tell me I have no way of knowing SM would do anything like that, but that doesn't really change anything. I allowed my father near my kids unsupervised, even though I knew she'd probably tag along. This is the guiltiest I've ever felt, and I don't think I'll ever forgive myself. Jane has been improving lately, and is trying to convince me to see a therapist. I've never really done that before, apart from a psychiatrist when I was younger.